rolling because you know how I do. You know how I do.
Mm-hmm.
You
You're looking very comfortable and very homey over there.
yes, yes,
Very homey, like fresh
very
out the
comfortable.
bubble bath, baby powder on the shelf ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Lotion by the bed,
yeah. I ain't gonna lie to
smooth
you.
jazz.
That's the vibe. I was about to get dressed, but I was like, look, I'm comfy in my little fluffy robe. Like I'm warm.
There you go.
Like I'm not about to get uncomfortable for YouTube. Like
Nah,
I felt that. I felt that. So with that
ain't nothing
being
wrong with that.
said, YouTube, what's up, y'all? Thank y'all for coming back. If y'all are new here, my name is Angel Uchiha. If y'all are not new, thank y'all for liking, commenting, subscribing, running those views up, all those good things that y'all do to show this channel love. As y'all can see, I'm back with Mind Ascension today, y'all. You want to introduce yourself?
Peace, family. Peace to my 6 to 22 strand, 7 to 9 ether, U melanin, selenium based black gods of this planet. Mind Ascension here. Self-proclaimed, self-taught. Well, excuse me. Let me stop lying. Because, even though by the conventional sense, I am kind of self-taught because I didn't go to a specific school, but I do have specific teachers that I definitely studied under. A lot of them are not even here anymore. They're ancestors now. But bottom line, I'm a brother that just never stopped studying. I'm a brother that never stopped experimenting. I'm a brother that never stopped seeking the truth in all matters, facts in all matters, references and sources and knowledge in all matters, no matter how much it might have hurt my feelings or my preferences. And even to this day, I'm still peeling my own human layers. Even to this day, I'm still digging and still studying more and more. By the way, always look out for those human brain motherfuckers who feel that they have gathered enough information on any subject. I don't care what subject it is. Even if I feel I'm an expert at the shit, I'm not going to reject more information on it. To me, that's just stupid. I hear a lot of people go, oh, yeah, I already know that. Yeah, I already do that. I already done. Yeah, nigga. But I mean, at the end of the day, there's always a crumb you could have missed. There's always a fraction you could have skipped over. You dig what I'm saying? So I'm one of those who love to study everything, love to get feedback on everything, and love for those to add more to what I already am. And I welcome all corrections, all teachers, all additional information, and so on and so forth. So when white people mate with their direct bloodlines, they create deformities. Now,
Right.
let me smack the shit out of all the wokeites right now that's following the dumbass theory that was given to them by white people that talks about incest breeds deformity. Number one, every ancient Egyptian dynasty literally practiced incest
Yeah.
to purify their bloodline, literally. To this very day, it is a custom to marry your first cousin. Look it up. All right. Matter of fact, you know the biggest incest capital in the world? India.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to remember when when the Assyrians invaded India, they created what's called the Untouchables or the Dravidians.
Mm-hmm.
So when they created the Untouchables and the Dravidians, when they came as the first invasions, the people of India were copulating with each other only. They broke that up. And then the people began to copulate with only lighter skinned people.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who stayed dark skinned was separated by the laws of Manu, or excuse me, the worship of Brahma, which is what you said earlier, the bottom of the feet being black, the top of the head being white.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's skip over that one. During slavery, a slave is a commodity.
Mm-hmm.
A slave is a product. If incest causes deformity, why the fuck would I breed any of my slaves with each other? Wouldn't that downgrade my stock of slaves? Wouldn't that breed deformed slaves that I could not sell at the highest price? But
Right.
we all know, and I can show you the records, because there's records of this. We all know that when a slave was taken in, for the women, in order to gain her freedom, she had to give birth to 13 children. Once she gave birth to 13 children, she was allowed to be free. For the man, it was the opposite. He was called a stud. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the funny thing. The indication of a stud was the slave who walked around the plantation holding his dick, which, of course, black men today imitate. Mm-hmm. We walk around and we hold our crotch and we sway when we walk. Mm-hmm. Because the stud was treated special, because the stud could not be stressed out. Why? Because the stud had to keep his dick hard. Now, studs, when there were no other slaves around, fucked their own mothers and their own children. Mm-hmm. This was the breeding process. This is documented. So if you're saying that incest breeds deformities, why the fuck for centuries did these people breed us with each other, and the term motherfucker was given to black people as a derogatory term? White people looked at niggas and said, fuck you, you motherfucker. Mm-hmm. And black people took that and said, motherfucker this, motherfucker that, motherfucker this. The same thing we do with nigga. Mm-hmm. All right? The term motherfucker did not exist past slavery.
And
now let me go. Hey, I ain't done. Mm-hmm. Now let's take it a step further. Mm-hmm. Look at all the isolated tribes. Look at the isolated tribes of the Polynesians on the islands of Polynesia. Look at the isolated tribes of the Trobriand tribes. Mm-hmm. Look at the isolated tribes on the Hawaiian Islands. Mm-hmm. Now, I already showed this on my page. It was customary for the Hawaiian chiefs to marry their daughters and marry their sisters and breed with them. It was customary. So if you want to tell me that incest breeds deformity, all of us should be deformed. Right. But notice, when white people attempted to practice this ancient practice of purity of blood and purity of bloodline, what happened to them immediately? They breeded deformities. Mm-hmm. So you know what they started doing? It began with Queen Charlotte. What did they start doing? They started infusing melanin into the bloodline. Mm-hmm. And what did they do strategically? They took a black woman who had a black mother and a white father. Mm-hmm. Meghan Markle, right now, her mother is black. Why is it so important for a mixed person to have a black mother? Can you answer the question? You know the answer. You know the answer.
I
might be overthinking.
I don't know.
Because the mitochondrial DNA is only passed down through the mother. Mm-hmm. If I take a mixed black person who has a white mother, mm-hmm. I have the potential to reinfuse recessive genes back into my gene pool. Mm-hmm. But if I take a mixed person who has a black mother, the potential to reinfuse the dominant gene is higher. Mm-hmm. They know all of this shit. Mm-hmm. They know the science of it. As a matter of fact, I'm saying this and I'm gone.
Okay.
Let's go to the barbarian slave, let's go to the Barbary Coast slave trade. Mm-hmm. Now, here's history that black people don't like to talk about, especially the fucking Moors. Where do you think white people learned how to breed slaves? The fucking Moors.
I ain't gonna lie, that was gonna be my guess.
Because the Moors already mastered the science of breeding, of human breeding. Why? Because the Moors are the custodians to the ancient Egyptian knowledge. Mm-hmm. Any Moor will tell you this shit. They carried the in-depth knowledge from the Egyptian mystery schools, mm-hmm. and carried them into Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And when they came into Europe, this is how they saved Europeans from extinction. They built what's called brothels.
Mm-hmm.
When they built brothels, they filled brothels with Scandinavian women, and they added one Moorish harem.
Mm-hmm.
Or excuse me, I'm sorry, that's the wrong word. Oh, not eunuch. Damn. It's the name. There's a book you can get. It's called Moorish Harem. Moorish Harem. There's a book that talks about this. Matter of fact, an old play called Othello. Othello goes into this. All right. We already know, and I know women don't like this, but it's just a biological fact. We already know that I could take one fucking man, place that nigga on an island with 1,000 women,
Mm-hmm.
and 100 years later, I can have a civilization
Mm-hmm.
from that one man. So this is what the Moors did. Because the Barbary, now, if you want a book on this, get a book called White Cargo.
Mm-hmm.
It's called White Cargo. There's another book called Barbary Coast Slavery. This is the history of the white slave trade that was done by Arabs who were basically just Moors.
And you said it was called the slavery?
One book is called White Cargo. Just like cargo pants and cargo being shipped in. White Cargo. Another book is called Barbary Coast Slave Trade.
Barbary?
Barbary, yeah, Barbary Coast. Barbary.
Cole. COLE?
No, coast, like West Coast.
Coast. Slave trade. Okay.
Coast, yeah. Barbary Coast. Now, we have to remember, before Africans were sold as slaves, but before I even get into this, somebody tell me, what is the etymology of the word slave? Where does the word slave come from? It comes from Slavic. Slavic is a people.
Yes.
The reason the word slave derives from Slavic is because the first people sold was Scandinavians and Slavics. Because the Scandinavian and the Slavics and the Norwegians are the whitest people on earth.
Mm-hmm.
They have very pale skin, they have crystal blue eyes, and they have blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
Now, during this time in history, these were the most rarest people on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, anybody that knows the Moorish dynasties during that time, the oldest Moorish dynasty is the Umayyad. Umayyad. The Umayyad. The Umayyad dynasty is one of the oldest Moorish dynasties. Now, anybody that knows Moorish dynasties and Arabic dynasties, they have what's called caliphs.
Mm-hmm.
A caliph is just a fucking another word for a king. All right? Mm-hmm. So basically, these caliphs were the highest buyers of Slavic women. And they would buy Slavic women by the dozens. And they would put them in their personal harems in so-called Arabia. So a huge market for Slavics was created because of Arabs.
Mm-hmm.
So during this time that Moors were going back and forth to the north to trade Slavic women with Arab caliphs, the slave trade grew. During the time of this slave trade of white slaves or Slavics, the Moors began to practice a breeding process in order to create the brunette,
Mm-hmm.
in order to create the dirty blonde,
Mm-hmm.
and all these different factions of white people that we see today. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, is why they're able to say, oh, we're only 5, 6%, 8% Neanderthal. Yes, because Moors breeded it out of you.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Now, fast forward to the Moorish Empire in Europe. They had brothels with European women of all types. In those brothels, there was one Moor in that brothel that would breed all the women.
Mm-hmm.
The generation that came out of those breed of women is what you now call Turks,
Mm-hmm.
is what you now call Armenians, is what you now call the Spaniard, and all these different factions of Europeans that when you look at them, they don't look like regular white people.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So what I'm telling you is white people did not learn the science of slave breeding by themselves. They were taught that by us as Moors. The only difference between them and the Moors is white people did it to the entire planet.
Mm-hmm.
The Moors kept in that vicinity of the Mediterranean, selling Slavic to Arab caliphs and back and forth. They stayed in there and even progressed it to the Arab slave trade that eventually went into Africa back to Arabia. Because the Arab slave trade is older than the European slave trade. The Arab slave trade came first. A lot of people don't talk about that either. So the Arab slave trade already mastered the science of slave breeding.
Mm-hmm.
And then guess who taught Christopher Columbus how to sail? Guess who created Mason orders? Guess who created all of these different factions that kept secrets of these sciences and then took over the planet? So essentially, we don't like to talk about this, and as a man of integrity who has no human ego, it was black people's fault that white people are in power today.
I agree with you.
We are responsible for the state that white people are in over us. And to be exactly specific, Moors are responsible because the conquistadors who showed Columbus how to get here, who spoke the language of the natives, who befriended, think about it. Why the fuck would natives befriend a whole bunch of white people they never met before?
They had
Because
somebody
the first people that came off those boats were Moors.
Mm-hmm.
And they spoke the language of the natives already.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a relationship with those natives already.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore they translated between the natives and the European and gained the natives' trust to trust the European. And after that trust was gained, slaughtered the natives and built Spanish settlements. Because remember, the first ones to get here was from Spain.
It's funny because I remember when Young Pharaoh was
or Portugal, be correct.
Before Young Pharaoh started tripping, he had a whole presentation where he was talking about the Moors and how they basically started slavery and all that. Yeah,
it's a fact. It's just a fact. Mm-hmm. We could be hurt about it. We could feel anyway. And you know what? I definitely respect the Moors because when you bring it up, the Moors don't deny it. One thing I love about the Moors, even though they're in a very tiny fucking box that's kind of silly, but whatever. All humans join religions. But anyway, the one thing I respect about the Moors is they don't argue facts. I never heard a Moor argue with me about a historical fact. They never do. They just shut the fuck up and they just go away. Because I used to battle with Moors all the time. And as soon as you bring up these historical facts, they leave you alone. They don't go, that's a lie, or that's the wrong book, or you misinterpret the information, my brother. They don't do none of that shit. They just disappear. They just go away. I'm serious, because I've battled so many Moors in my day, and as soon as you bring up facts, Moors don't argue with you about facts. That's why I definitely respect the Moors. I respect the elder Moors way more than these new Moors, because these new Moors are stuck in this extreme tiny itty bitty box that's only about 100 years old. Because when you go past Black's Law Dictionary, you completely lose their ass. And Black's Law Dictionary is only as old as 1880. That's as old as you go. So if I go past that dictionary, now you can't understand nothing I'm saying anymore. Oh, okay, whatever. Now you can't talk to me anymore. You're out of jurisdiction, brother. And now you just want to dismiss me. Oh, you're out of the arms of the law, and now you want to dismiss me. Okay, nigga, whatever. But anyway, point of the matter is
like the point of the matter is don't want to go beyond KJV. But
yeah, and you dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every box is a box. Just some boxes are bigger than others. If I imprison you in a mansion made of marble with velvet and silk robes and shit like that, are you still not in prison in that mansion? Yeah. If I imprison you in a shack with a dirt floor and shackles, you are still in prison. Mm-hmm. The thing about being in a box is you can never go past your limitations. Mm-hmm. Some boxes are bigger than others. The Moorish box is very small. The King James or Christian box is a little bigger because now you can go through history going back to 1611. Mm-hmm. Now you could go to history going back to the Crusades. Now you could go to history going back to Constantine. Mm-hmm. But once you go past that, it's all mystery now. You know what's another tiny box? Islam. Yeah. Because the Arabic history doesn't go back past 600 AD.
I was just breaking this down on my channel about goddess worship in Islam. Y'all go check that out. About how Islam is I don't even want to call it a baby. It's damn near
It's a baby.
It's a sperm.
It's a baby. Yeah, it's a baby.
It's not quite a baby
yet. Yeah.
It's like
but mind you, here's the crazy part. Islam was the fastest growing religion in the world.
Yes, it is. It is.
No, I'm not saying it is. I'm saying when Islam began, it spread faster than anything ever in human history.
That's the thing. It's still I think it's something million people become Muslims every year.
Now, here's the thing. Why is that? Because the first people to spread Islam was the Moors. Who were the Moors? The Moors were travelers of the seas. The Moors were navigators. Mm-hmm. So the Moors could go past one land. The Moors were masters of geography as well. So these original dynasties from the Umayyads, oh Lord, I can't say the name right now. But if you all right, my phone is about to die. I gotta get the fuck out of here because I'm just gonna keep talking.
We got a lot of footage. I'm gonna have to break this up into 5 videos.
Yeah. I was about to go and get I got numerous books on the Moors, man. I want everybody to get the Moors before Spain, and then they got another book called The Moors After Spain. There's another book that's multiple volumes. It's called The Moorish Empires. Mm-hmm. That's multiple volumes. That shit goes so far back before Europe itself, meaning the battle of the Visigoths versus the Romans. And how they called on, it gives you the story how the Moors got here in the first place. Because remember, the Moors didn't just invade Europe and say, hey, we want Europe. The Moors were asked to come to Europe to save the Romans. Because when the Romans was being defeated by the Visigoths, by the way, this is where the term vandalism comes from. Mm-hmm. Because the Visigoths was also called the Vandals. Mm-hmm. And when they came into Rome, they destroyed everything. So that's where the term vandalism comes from. Vandalism means destruction. So those are a few books you could get on Moorish history to give you a very complete, concise aspect. Get pirates, slaves, and Pirates, slaves in the Caribbean. Pirates, slaves in the Caribbean, because we also got to remember the Moors were pirates.
Listen. We got to do a separate Moor.
I already know.
We got to do a separate Moor episode because the pirates, that's some shit, y'all. But
the Moors were pirates. By the way, what was the pirate symbol? The skull and bones.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the skull and bones today? All right. We got to connect these things now. We got to connect these things. Who did the skull and bones sanction? The skull and bones sanctioned the Black Order of the Boule.
Mm-hmm.
The Boule is nothing but a modernized symbol of the Moors.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the Moors lost power after being defeated by the Portuguese and the Spaniards, they entered Spaniard and Portuguese armies.
Mm-hmm.
So they traded their power for status and nationality. So this is why you have Moors today talking about nationality is the order of the day. Nationality is the order of the day. White is a status, not a color. Black is a low, dead status. Not. And the reason why they do this is because once they lost power, the only way for them to gain power was to claim a status that was validated by Europeans. And that's something they don't like to talk about either, because your nationality and your status is still validated by white people.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you go into a court system and you want to claim all that Moorish shit, they have to validate you. They have to go, you know what? That's truth. That's right. That's this. Okay, bang, case dismissed. They still have to validate you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's no different from a slave showing his freedom papers.
And this is what I always used to go back and forth with Morris about. It's like, okay, so you go to court, and what if the judge is like, fuck all that? Then what?
Like, they can actually detain you. They do that all the time. Because see, what Moors got right is the wordplay and legalities. Because what they'll do is they'll hold you in contempt. What they don't understand is I could hold you in contempt for years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All I have to do is not put you in population.
Mm-hmm.
So I could either hold you in contempt or I can detain you.
Mm-hmm.
All I got to do is just hold you in a non-population area. And I can hold you for as long as I want.
Exactly.
Until somebody comes in to save you. Mm-hmm. So, but that's a whole nother subject. Angel, I'm just always so appreciative of you for always providing this opportunity for me to run my big ass mouth. And you know, we could go. I mean, I got so much shit in my head that I want to start saying, but I know if I start, we are never gonna fucking shut up. And I gotta take my black ass.
Do another episode.
Yeah. It's so much, man. Like, oh my god. And that's why it's so ridiculous for anybody to put themselves in any form of box of knowledge. Like, it's just so ridiculous, because the more I talk about these things, the more shit comes out of my subconscious. And it's just like right now, so many things is flooding out of my brain that I want to get into to correlate the topic. But I know my phone is on 13%. Not only that, it's about to be 10:30. I got to get up early. And I know how myself is. I already told you about this before. I don't play with myself when it comes to getting my work done and my responsibilities and make sure I get my money and all of that. So, but I just appreciate you so much for, you know, just making this happen and having the courage, which a lot of people, men or women, do not have, because you already know your ass come for me in the comments. You know, well, first of all, and you know what? It's such a beautiful fucking thing to not have ego, because there was parts of me in our early rebuttals that was like, why don't you just block this bitch? And then I'm like, nah, nigga, you not no bitch. What the fuck you blocking her for? Like, nigga, she's asking real questions. She's saying real shit. Like, the fuck is, what are you, a fucking human, nigga? And of course, I don't even know how long it's been, but I know it's been a while, because I know you've had so many different icons and different names. Yeah. But I know it's been a while. But I'm so glad that I don't have a human ego that just God damn it, she never fucking stops. I just don't want to see this or hear this anymore. Because that's what people do with me. People have seen me comment so many times, they'll just block me. Yeah. And they'll just get rid of me. But I've never blocked nobody in my life. I've never blocked white people, gay people, trolls. Just the other day, I had a gay guy in my DM, and he used to troll me back in the day. But because I never allowed his trolling to ever get to me, eventually he started following me for so long he started agreeing with me and he
Yeah.
started understanding what I was teaching and came into my comment section and said, bro, I want you to know that us as homosexuals, we do not agree with this and that and that and this and blah, blah, blah. And everything you're saying about this and that, we agree with. We are right on board with you. But they keep suppressing us because they want to keep pushing the ideology. Like, he kept it a buck with me, man. So I'm saying that to say, for all the fucking humans out there that hear somebody say shit you don't like, and instead of going in depth with what you hear and finding the origin and asking them more questions, instead you choose to reject them, you choose to block them, you choose to erase them because they make you feel uncomfortable, you're a dumbass.
Very
And
much.
you're extremely weak. You're extremely weak. Because it takes emotional intelligence and it takes spiritual strength to hear things you don't like and still have the intelligence to listen, to find a conclusion, and to gain clarity.
Right.
And me and this woman right here, that comment section, boy. And one day I just said, hey, you know what? You feel so goddamn passionate. Why don't we do a damn live? And why don't you say this shit to my face?
Yep, that's where it all started.
And she said, you know what, brother? I'll take your ass on that shit. And look at where we are right now. Having amazing conversations.
Don't be scared of a conversation, y'all.
Lock it. We are making historical archives in the ether right now in the Akashic. Whether we realize it or not, because going on for 3 hours about so many different levels of this topic, this is going beyond the average mind and the average brain. This is in the ether. This is in the Akashic. And this is being recorded right now, seeing both of our images, seeing our faces, seeing our passion, seeing our responses. All of those things are being recorded. And for every person watching this, it's being recorded in their subconscious. And as it's recorded in their subconscious, it's recorded even further and deeper into the Akashic of their DNA. But anyway, I got to get the hell up out of here. Is there anything you want to say, Angel, before I dip out?
I feel like damn near everything was said, other than the things that we have to drop in the next episode. But yeah, y'all, that's pretty much the spirit of the intention of this podcast, right? Is to put this information out there and do with it what thou wilt, right? Whether you agree, whether you disagree, whether you come back to it later and decide that you do agree, right? Is here for you. And yeah, I just want to thank you for coming through and talking to the people and answering my 1001 questions, right?
Love them.
Yeah, y'all. Make sure y'all stay tuned for the next episode. Thank y'all for comment, subscribe, share the video, y'all.
Hold on, wait 1 second. Let's recap because I brought these books for a reason. Iceman Inheritance. Get this in your library. Get this in your archive. Get this in your tangible goddamn hands. Fuck that PDF bullshit. Fuck that digital bullshit. Fuck that tablet bullshit. Get books in your house and put books in your baby's hands.
Yeah. That's a good ass book.
Dirt. Dirt by Terrence McCullen. This is an amazing archive of European history before Moors civilized their nasty asses. Get this tangible book and put it in your baby's hands. Hidden History of the Human Race. This is an amazing book. This is followed by Forbidden Archaeology. This is written by 2 different white European archaeologists, telling you the truth of what they discovered, and they were rejected by European academia. Put this book in your baby's hands. This is one that I didn't bring up, but I brought it up here. Africa and Europe. This is going deeper even before the Moors. This is going into all the different African popes, the African Romans, the African Greeks, all of that shit. All right? Get this physical book, put it in your library, and get this book in your baby's hands. Okay. On that note, I'm getting the hell up out of here and doing what I need to do. Love you and appreciate you, girl.
Thank you. Thank you for coming through. Peace, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Run those views up.